Good grind, but otherwise.
Oh, I'm good, Doug. I'm good, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And otherwise, thank you very much for taking your time to be with us, man. It means a lot to
No,
me.
man. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited. I don't know what we're going to be chatting about, so hopefully you guide me and it's a
Word,
phenomenal show.
word. Otherwise, this is the Influencer Academy podcast. So the
Sure.
hope of this conversation we are about to have is to hopefully give value to entrepreneurs who are trying to market their businesses and influencers or people who are trying to create businesses that become vehicles of marketing other businesses, which are agencies. So I would like us to have a conversation that can help both those people, entrepreneurs and content creators, if I can put it in that way, Rabba. So
Yeah.
I think just to start the conversation, can you just quickly tell us who you are and what you do for a living?
Yeah. So igama lami is Pensol Mlotshwa. I'm a media owner, so I run a advertising stable, and what we do is that we sell different offerings, so online publications. So we sell Entertainment South Africa and we sell Business Tech Africa to the market. So if you want to advertise, display, or do editorials or content creation on certain platforms, we can get that done for you.
That's super fantastic. I'm very interested in terms of your client base because I have this assumption that a lot of local businesses or township-based businesses are not really investing that much money into advertising products. So what's your perspective on that, local businesses and they are spending into your type of business?
So for Tina as Better Media, Tina, we don't target our SMEs. So that's for your audience. Those are small businesses. So if you look at advertising has levels. Yabo. And again, I'm just doing this just for listeners that might not understand the journey of advertising. So at the basic of advertising is awareness. So let's go for any campaign, just acknowledging and knowing which there's something called McDonald's. That's always the first step, And then once you see and understand what there's McDonald's, then what they need to do is that they must make you want McDonald's. Yeah, one. So you're going from knowing that there's McDonald's to wanting McDonald's. Then you're going to consider, hey, I want to eat something. I'm considering McDonald's. Yeah, one. Once you go from that step, then you actually need to go to McDonald's. Yeah, one, and then eat. So there's different levels. Yeah, one. So if we look at your traditional media, TV is a phenomenal advertising tool, but TV only speaks to awareness. It just makes you see it. So just because you saw the advert, BM, doesn't mean that you're going to go and buy BM. So, I mean, what I try and explain I know with small business is around planting the seed. Yeah, one. So if you're running a small business, it's cutting a lot of guys that run a small business, they don't just want to plant the seed. They want to plant it today, let it grow today, and then eat it today. Because when are they basically working from month to month. Yeah, one. Whereas bigger international conglomerates or whatever, those big corporations, international, like let's say Adidas, whatever, they can advertise and just plant seeds, plant seeds, plant seeds, plant seeds, plant seeds. We had that conversation around Kiwi shoe polish, where when I was growing up, maybe some of your listeners will realize or remember what when adverts where Lucas Hadebe was walking down a Lokshin and he's walking down a dusty road, and then he sees an empty can of Kiwi shoe polish. So and he starts playing around, kicking it around, and then takes out a cloth and he wipes his shoes, And what that ad does is that it just plants a seed, It doesn't make you want to get up and go buy a kiwi. It just plants a seed so that it's top of mind. Kiwi, top of mind, top of mind. Ikrimora used to have that advert. It's not inside, it's on top. It's not inside, it's on. Those things are just planting seeds. Yeah, so when I go to local businesses, I say, look, on my platform, whether you want to advertise on YouTube, Instagram, a lot of that is awareness. Do you have your budget, your advertising budget? Is it for awareness? Or is your advertising budget for leads? You actually want someone to walk into your store. That's a different consumer base. Because if I'm looking for someone, I need to look for someone who is looking for a BMW, one, right now in the past 3 months is looking for BMW, is in the market, can afford. Yabon. Those things are very, I'm not just looking, so small business is not looking for someone who maybe likes my t-shirts. No, they're looking for someone who can afford my t-shirts, wants to buy it today. So my company versus what they are looking for is very different. Therefore, if my clients then end up being a Hollard, it ends up becoming an MTN, a multi-choice, those then become my clients rather than ubabusbia onepusha, you know, because we're hitting different things. And even when they come to me for consultation, I always say, babusbia, your money is better suited, your advertising money is better suited with advertising via pamphlets, you know. Ipusha yako is located here. Thola majita abazohanda out ama-pamphlets bathi ngena mama, ngena baba, ngena bhuti, ngena sisi. Here, your budget will make sense there, and you'll get more return than going and spending your money on these bigger platforms. I hope I answered your question.
It makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot of concerns from a person who's trying to build a digital agency for local businesses. And I think it comes to a point where when you are trying to market local businesses, your visions or realities are way separated because you are talking awareness and they are talking sales. So my question is, a lot of local businesses are building businesses and competing with big businesses. But in a way, as much as they understand that they're competing with big businesses, their activities are super different from the activities, the marketing activities that international businesses are taking. So what you're saying is, number one, I'm hearing a lot of, you need to be patient as a brand builder because brand is built over time and over awareness. You need to build that brand awareness. But how does a small entrepreneur who has a clothing brand, who's competing with the Red Bats, the Nikes, the Adidas, build a brand in a way whereby, I don't know how to position this question or phrase it, but how do they become patient enough to build a brand and compete with the big brands like Adidas and Nike?
So you look at it like this: over 90% of businesses fail within their first 3 years. And this is just my opinion. My opinion is that it's because they're trying to compete. Imagine when you were in grade 8 and you're trying to compete with a matric. What would have happened? You would have lost, right? So I think the big thing is, let's stop doing that. So when you are upushi keeper, right? So this is the mistake that we now do as Black entrepreneurs. So let's just use the t-shirt business. Now you start a business of t-shirts where you are selling me a t-shirt for 350 Rand. And then you say to me, yeah, no, if you go to a Nike, why would you? Nike is also 350, so I price it at 350. Okay, so one, you don't have the quality that Nike has. That's just one. You know, your t-shirts are really, really poor quality at that 350. You don't have the design, just the look and the feel of the t-shirt is not the same. This one is a slim fit, everything. Two, you don't have the currency that Nike has. There's a reason why I wear Nike. I don't wear Nike because it's comfortable. I'm wearing Nike because I'm trying to leverage off the brand. Yeah, but the same way that people wear Louis Vuitton, it's not because Louis Vuitton makes the best clothes. It's because I know what people see in me when I'm wearing Louis Vuitton. It's brand affiliation. You saw me wear this vest. When you see me wear this vest, something happens in your mind. Something happens in your mind. Not because of Penson, but because of this vest and what it means. When I wear Nike, when I wear Louis Vuitton. So when I gift you, you've got a t-shirt written my gift. Like, what does that mean to society? There's no goodwill, there's no social brand. So in Nike understands, which njengoba Daisa is keeper for 350 Rand, or 300 is just me buying the name. The 50 Rand is the t-shirt. The 300 Rand is the name for me to associate. So when I'm starting a business, I need to be cognizant of that and ask myself, why would anyone spend 350 Rand of their hard-earned money buying my t-shirt, Penson tops, versus going and buying Adidas top? Why should they do that? You know, and if my excuse is because must buy South African, must buy from blacks, let's say that's my thing. You know, A consumer will say, well, then Penson, are you buying your t-shirts from black people? Are your suppliers black? Why must I give my 350 Rand to you when you are buying your t-shirts from China Mall, when you are getting different nationalities to print? And so we really need to consider our products. We can't just go into the market. You know, if I don't know how to swim, I can't just jump into a swimming pool. If I don't know how to drive, I can't just get into a car. Length of Its Gifty has steps, you know, and you need to be patient. So if you're starting a t-shirt company, forget about Nike, forget about Adidas, Redbat, forget about those things. Learn from them. Learn from the matric boy, learn from this, but you can't begin to say you want to compete. Like, I look at people, I'm like, do you know if you start boxing today and you get into the ring with Mike Tyson, do you know what will happen? Do you know what will happen to you? This thing needs to take time. So my advice to people that are wanting to get into business is study the business, look at the business that you want to emulate, and then try and copy what they've done from their first year, second year. Don't copy what they're doing now. No, you are not there now. Study them. Who Gift in Jobe Figure and understands this. Gift, where were you 10 years ago? What were you doing? Come back then, you got to start recording your phone, what. And then from there, you started downloading apps, these apps. Do the same thing. Do the same thing. Kancane and learn and grow. Kancane and learn and grow until such time you can actually then get there in 20, 30 years. But you can't compete in your first 2 months with a company that's been around for 100 years and has thousands of employees. That's stupid. That's dumb.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow. That makes a lot of sense otherwise. Since the world has moved into social media so much, how do you think social media and content creation has made it easy to start a business?
So again, social media has been phenomenal in terms of attention capital. You know, there's value in attention capital. Tina, we didn't know about that. You know, we used to always grow up looking at people on TV or listening to people on radio, and we used to be like, oh my God, Spanban is so, oh my God, Spanban is so. But we didn't understand which that's attention capital. Let me give you an example. Usomizi Mhlongo, ne? Let's say Usomizi wants to sell, just give me a product that is outside of rugby boots. Rugby boots. Can you associate Usomizi with rugby boots? No. So let's say Somizi is selling rugby boots, and who else in the world of rugby that we know? Let's say Beast. Beast is selling rugby boots. If you look at Beast and Taurira's following on social media, he has maybe 30,000 followers, maybe. Usomizi has 2 million followers. Let's say Beastie has 50% of his followers buy his boots. 50%. Ne? That's 100, that's 15,000 people that buy his boots. Usomizi, let's say he only gets 5%. 5% of his followers. That now is 100,000. All because he's got the attention capital. You know, people aren't buying the boots, people are buying Usomizi. This has now given us normal people or Penson access to the same avenues. Before, there was gatekeepers in TV. You need to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. You can't just get to Metro FM. You need to know someone who knows to know someone. You need to move to Joburg, move to Durban, move to Cape Town, right? We're having this interview over Zoom. You could be anywhere, I could be anywhere. You could be in a small town, I could be in a small town. But now we've got access to, we take this information, we edit it, we put it on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. And what we now do is, now what we have is access to millions of people that we didn't have before. Now that you have people's attention, you can sell whatever you want to sell. You can sell yourself as a slay queen. Many girls on their Instagram, that's what they're selling. Look at me, I'm a slay queen. Maufuna mina, you must get me weaves, you must get me iPhone 14, you must buy me bottles. That's what they're selling, right? Some guys are selling gym. You look at this guy, here's a posted gym. That's what he's selling. Some people are selling clothes. Some people are selling their products, you know, they're pushing there because now they have that attention, you know, which we didn't have before. Before, if you wanted to be a rapper and you stay in a small town in Newcastle, you'd have to make a CD and stand by the mall and hand out some mixtape. Yeah, bon. and maybe hand out to 100 people who may or may not listen to them. Now you literally do the same thing. You post on your TikTok, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Snapchat, on your, how many people are you accessing there? You now go to Gift and say, hey, Gift, please can you post this on your story? You now start looking at your 20 friends and you're like, please, all of a sudden, your one song is being listened to by 100,000 people in one day. You never heard that before. Now it's being listened to the right people because now we've got access to that, you know. So Tina, we only realize something as a Black community when the other communities have seen it and have dominated it. It's unfortunate to once some of us have seen, they don't teach the rest. It's almost like a well-kept secret. Yeah, well, so if we understand the importance of this, you know, I had a guy to me saying, oh, now I'm painting your podcaster. I was like, because it's attention capital. You know, someone imagine, yeah, rap. Something on 1980,
yeah.
Imagine someone said, oh, now AKA you say a rapper. Yeah, of course. I'm going to jump in when I need to jump in and I'm going to blow up, you know? So if I start podcasting today, you know, I might blow up and this might now be my a way that I feed my family. Get people's attention, then sell certain products. I can do that. Why can't I do that? So use social media, people. Use social media. If you don't have a lot of followers, you've got 100 followers on your Instagram. You've got 100 followers on your Instagram. Ne? Of the 100 followers on your Instagram, now I'm giving people a fucking hack here. And if they don't use it, then fuck them. You've got 100 people on your Instagram. You want to post your sneakers. Ne? You've got a brand of sneakers that you have out. Literally DM all fucking 100 of these people. Yo, bro, please can you repost this on your story? 100 people. Are all of them want to repost? No. Let's say 10 repost. But each of those 10 people have 100 followers each. That means 1,000 people are going to see your fucking shoes. Better than your just 100 that you had. You see where I'm going with that? But like people don't want to leverage off each other, you know. I mean, I try and repost Amachidam's things all the time. You mention me, I repost it. You mention me, I'm not saying that I've got a big following, but I've got a healthy number of followers. And if I know Wuti, someone's gonna like, someone's gonna ask, someone's just gonna eyeballs and it's gonna plant a seed. Yeah, but no man, I've seen that guy before, man. Also, Penson's posted this guy 3-4 times. Who is this guy? You know, by the time I post you for the 10th time, then they maybe click on a follow. You know, maybe at that time they starting, maybe after 3 months, 4 months, maybe they start DMing you. Hey, bro, we saw you did this interview around influencers. Now I'm actually interested. How do I get into? We need to be patient. Just because I'm reposting your shoes today doesn't mean that you're going to get an inbox today. It might just plant a seed. I might be broke today. I see these shoes. I like these shoes, but I'm like, ish, I repost again in Jan. I repost again in April. April, you're like, I remember those shoes. Let me now hit up a gift. Do you remember those shoes that you posted in December? Do you still have a pair? Size 9 in black. Yeah, sure. Let's understand those dynamics.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, what you speaking about, like attention capital, I think it's the most biggest thing, and most local businesses or Black-owned businesses are not taking the advantage of it. What do you think is the main causes of them not taking advantage of social media and all of those avenues?
As a gift, we don't know things. So I had a friend of mine in 2015. I think it was 2015. Afrikaans boy, and he was telling me about that he's mining Bitcoin. 2015. I was like, what's that? No, it's this money online thing. So I'm like, oh, is it like in a game? I need in my mind, I knew in a game there's fake money when you're playing a game. I was like, is it like that? He was like, no, there's this money that we use to buy things in real life. I was like, I don't understand. He was like, yeah, so his dad and him are mining it. I was like, okay, yeah, bon. And he was like, yeah, if you send me like 10,000 Rand, we can. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm gonna send you 10,000 Rand. Yeah, bon. It didn't make any sense to me. 2017, I started hearing about Bitcoin a lot. Bitcoin. 2018 cryptocurrency started becoming the buzzword. Crypto. Crypto. And then 2019, us blacks started jumping on Forex, crypto. 2019, I spoke to him, this gent of mine, and he's like, oh no, we've sold our business. This guy bought, I would be lying, but I think he bought like a farm, like a game farm with the money. So you know what they did? They jumped early, built this business, and then by the time the rest of us knew what's happening, that's when they sold. If I had the information, bro, then, and I said, here's my 10K, ne? And I let it sit with him for 3 years, that 10K would have been $500,000. 3 years. But I didn't have the information, I didn't have the knowledge. He tried to explain, but I guess my little brain couldn't get it, you know. But it was also his dad's business. So again, his knowledge was also limited versus his dad. So a lot of the stuff is that, you know, we don't know. And the ones that do know, they keep it to themselves. Yeah, one. The biggest problem with Tina as Black people is that we love to compete with one another. You know, that's why we refuse to be on each other's podcasts. That's why we don't want to do features unless you pay me. That's why I don't want to repost your shit. Bro, gift is going to be bigger than me, dog. I don't want that. I said, nah. You know, and you're born with this silver, which we ask. Everything is a competition. Everything is a competition. You know, we have this conversation all the time with my bro. And I was like, dog, like, we will dominate the market because, Tina, we understand what my job is to be defender, his job is to be striker. He can score 10 times, but you know what happens? The team wins. I don't care if you score. You can have, in fact, I want you to have 1 million followers tomorrow. I need you to have 1 million followers tomorrow so that when you repost my shoes, 1 million eyeballs can see. So I need you to win. So whatever little bit of information I have around social media, I will pour all of it in you. If you say to me, Penson, I need us to record tomorrow, guess what I'll do? If I can, I'll record. I'll record with you every single day. Every single day doesn't matter because I want you to win. Because I know for a fact, Gift, that if you score the goals, the team wins. When I got a goal like 20, the reserves still win. They get a winning bonus. The reserve, Penson, he still gets a winning bonus. It's fine. It's okay. You want to be lead singer? You want to be Beyonce? It's fine. I'll be Kelly Rowland in the back. It's okay.
Wow.
We need to share information. We need to understand, Uguti, it doesn't matter who's scoring the goals. The team needs to win. If all of us want to be strikers and we're fighting over the ball, eventually no one is going to score. And that's how us as a Black community stay losing. Stop competing, Blacks. Work together.
Information sharing is very important in a way. And I think we need to find more ways of sharing information and getting people interested to acquiring that information, because also the interest is another thing. Like, as you're saying that, I think 2015 was like 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, you heard about Bitcoin, but you were not that interested because you didn't know. So I think that is the problem we're facing, whereby people are hearing of social media and getting attention, but they're not really that interested because they don't know. So I think one of the greatest missions we need to have is how do we increase that interest graph and get people to be interested in learning more about getting attention.
Dog, you know how many times we've laughed at the Forex? Like, ngazongitshela nge-Forex, fethu ungazongitshela ukuthi udayisa ini mo-fire, fethu udayisa ini, shama mixtape, ngenzeni-ke ama-mixtape akho. Saklasana, bro, because we constantly competing with each other. So now we respect the guy in the shirt and tie, you know, who sits and works in a corporate space, you know, because that's what we've been conditioned to believe, you know. So it's hard because when I'm telling you now for free, there's so many business owners that when you go to and you ask, please, can I interview you? bazokuklasa uzongifaka kuphi manje sodlala Facebook and you're like man.
So
Yabazi amajita I know so many guys and I was like, look, the difference that I can get into spaces because I've got the backing of I'm trying to find the right word. Fuck it. I've got the backing because I'm a boss. Yeah, one. So for me, it's easy. I pay salaries. So give me there's that. So when they see me, it's like seeing Oskido on TikTok. Have you seen Oskido's TikTok, ne?
Yeah.
Oskido on TikTok, we clown most, ne? But we don't lose respect for Oskido because he's a boss. He's still a boss. Oskido is still paying salaries. So we'll never lose respect for him. However, when we see you on TikTok, dressed up because there's a video of Oskido Koge weave. Because when you don't have what he has. So for me, I've realized I can get into so many spaces because I can wear like this. I go to meetings. I was at a meeting with the guys from Tiger Brands, and it was like 20 people. But shorty and like my traditionally ngablet. Yabon, fresh, you know, because got the after so cheat. And you could see looking at you like this, you know. I'm like, dog, you're an employee. You're not looking at life the way I'm looking at it. And I know it sounds arrogant, but I have earned this right. You know, I've earned this right. And I wish all of us can walk into the boardroom dressed. I can go into a meeting like this and sit across the hall from an MD or a CEO or a CFO, whatever. I can sit like this. I can chat to guys go Standard Bank and sit like this. I can sit there with my accountant and my business manager, and we can literally. I'm not trying to be egocentric, but we can move across hundreds of thousands and millions. So using it to like
loosen up.
How like we hear like the way that you dress to me as Penson doesn't tell me shit about you because we here for a common goal. We're here for a common goal. We're not trying to impress each other. We're not here uklasana. I'm not trying to look at the phone that you're driving. I mean, the phone that you have or the car that you're driving. You know, if I was young and dumb and I thought that was what life was about, maybe, you know, I'm old, dog. You know, I mean, I know this guy that I sell for, this Jewish man, Upata eat blackberry. He cycles everywhere he goes. He's a when you look at him, he's just like a Mr. Price. He just wears a ski bar and shorts. This guy is worth billions. Party blackberry, or relaxed. Hey, can we have a chat? He'll sit with you for 2-3 hours. But then I also know guys that, you know, always want to be wearing LV this, Gucci this. And you're like, who are you trying to impress, bro? Like, are you know, it's nice to have nice things. But sometimes you must just also just enjoy. Go get in jacket, relax.
It makes a lot of sense. Wow.
If we stop competing, if we stop klasana as a community, I think it'll be easier for us to go forward.
Wow, that's super dope. You spoke about something that caught my attention, which is personal branding in a way that clustering in a way links a lot with personal brand. So my question is that when building a personal brand, should you first get the stripes? Like, should you succeed in something first before you build a personal brand? Or can you build a personal brand just based on the information you have and sharing that information and building a brand in a way?
So, I mean, I look at it like this. It's twofold, né? So there's your personal brand that you have online, you know, where people see you in a specific way on your social media platforms. And it is the actual reality of life, you know. So on Instagram, you might be this cool, rich, you know, guy that popped out with all these girls. But the reality is that in life, you might be struggling, you know. So I always try and say, let's focus on your actual real life brand first. Who are you first? Person says this thing of you need to be a champion before you become a champion. So ultimately what he's saying is that it needs to start here. You know, you need to start here and start seeing yourself in a specific way. So if it means, let's say you want to be a champion and a champion wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You're not a champion yet, wake up at 5. If a champion doesn't drink and doesn't smoke, don't drink, don't smoke. Change your mindset. So if you want to work on your brand, before we get to social reality, work on the reality. And the reality is me first. How do I look at myself? Before how society looks at myself, how do I look at myself? Stand in the mirror as naked. You try and tell Susi, how do you feel about you standing at yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror? Let's work on that. Let's work on your body. Let's work on your mind. What are you reading? What are you consuming? From a mental point, are you psychologically broken down? Are you anxious? Fix that. From a point of morality, are you doing business in a dodgy way? Always with the carb around you. Fix you. Once the inside is fixed, you proud of how you look. You're proud of mentally where you are. You're no longer depressed. You're no longer suicidal and anxious. You're no longer doing immoral things. Once you fixed you, it starts radiating. Because you fixed you. Now you've become the champion that the others outside will see. All of a sudden now we can look at how can we translate this into what others can see. Mina, I'm not confident because people think I'm confident. I'm confident because I know I can, and that comes from me. When I look at myself naked in the mirror, I go, damn. It's not fair. There's no Gucci, there's no Louis Vuitton. That's your brand that people see on the outside, right? But because I can see me, I'm an incredibly intelligent person because of what I consume, not because of my gifts or whatever, because of what I consume. I surround myself with people who are way smarter than me, and they explain things to me like I'm a child so I can consume it. The podcast that I listen to, the music that I listen to, what I like, I just consume all of that. Like my mentors are people that can grow me. So mentally, I know that when I go into a space, I'm a lion mentally. Physically, I'm a lion. I know that. You might not know that. I know that. So then when I sit, it radiates. So when I walk into a room, you don't need to know me. You're like, hey, there's something about Lumchitalo. Because it gives off. So now I can then start from the inside, internal to external, building this brand. What do I want Penson to present? I want Penson to present a guy who can get shit done. I want him to present confidence. I want him to also have an air of humility, but I also, more than anything, want him to teach and assist the next generation or the next group of my friends, which is Legelelan. That's the brand that I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build from a family point, a brand of a family guy, a guy who loves his kids, a guy who loves his family, from a business point, a guy who's willing to sacrifice for the staff and the team and build that. I'm trying to, that's the brand externally, but that doesn't come from external, it comes from internal. It comes from on a Sunday calling the team because Spanbani's daughter was sick. Hey, unjani babe, was that right? Okay, all right, okay. That's an internal thing. That's who I am. But now from a brand point, when she goes and speaks to her friends around, hey, how's your employer? Hey, he's such a great guy. He's done this, he's done that. So for me, I always try and tell people to focus on you first. Before you focus on your external brand, before you focus on your social media brand, focus on you first. Because if you don't, you end up going to be lying to us. You're going to be going around saying, Wuti, I'm this, my brand is Mr. Money. And in reality, your bank account is empty. Your brand is going to be, I'm this guy that dresses Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Ganti, all your clothes are bought from Small Street. Yeah, one. So focus on you, fix you mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, from a morality point, fix you, then it will radiate.
It makes a lot of sense. Wow, thank you very much for that. Otherwise, talking about fixing you, I want to deviate and go to a question whereby a lot of people, when starting your own business, it's extremely difficult, and the market will tell you that your idea is not working or the business just won't work. What's your advice on people starting their businesses and it not working at the initial stages? How should they be?
My advice is don't start a business. Yeah, that's my advice. People go into a business with the wrong thing. They go into business because they want to make money. If you want to make money, go get a job, get employed, because then you need a constant financial stream. What you want that people misunderstand is creating, like I'll tell people, that you don't use the word business, just have a hobby. So let's say mina ngisipana spa. Yabona ngisipana spa, amumchi to shy cashier, whatever. Have a hobby of ugrab. Or let's say we were talking about t-shirts, né? Don't say I've got a t-shirt business. No. Don't look at it like that, because your mind will be, your framing of it will be wrong. Have a hobby of making t-shirts and start making t-shirts for your skim sack. Make great t-shirts for your skim sack. Make t-shirts for your family. When there's family events, your Mlotshwas unite. Make those things. Start as a hobby. Go to soccer teams, and say, hey, Azi, this is a grand soccer team. They're like, nami ngikhule ngidlala leli bhola, azi ngifuna ukukhanda iyikipa, ngandikhandela iyikipa mhlawumbe ukhulume ne-owner, ngifuna ukukhandela nje iyikipa zenu. I'm not business, just nje, I just like these type of things. Inkinga nje ukuthi I obviously need resource ungangilekelela, then we sit and design these type of things. And then build that hobby until that hobby is a phenomenal hobby. What then will happen is that people will come to you. Another soccer team will come and say, hey, we saw what you did for that thing. Can you help us with our soccer t-shirts? Another family will say, hey, we saw what you did for your family with the t-shirts. Can you do this for our thing? When you spend in a spa, month after month, spa, you're doing this in your own time. Whatever little 1 rand, 2 rand that you're getting from this, uvula account ekapitheki, ufaka imali yakhona, akuyona imali yakho, imali yekipa. And you start growing it kancane kancane. You don't rush. You start looking at other people for mentorship around that. Focus on the design. You'll then focus on the business. Kancane kancane. But the moment uthi ngena business, you get overwhelmed with so many things. You're still in grade 8. Forget about varsity. Don't think about varsity. Just focus in grade 8. Hambi high school. High school. Algebra. You're grade 8. Have a good time. So for me, I've realized that through my own mistakes, I framed it business. I lost so much money. I lost sleep. Got heavily depressed because my framing of it was wrong. But the moment I started changing my framing, it became a lot easier. So I'm trying to just have fun, and it's a hobby. Having these podcasts like this is a hobby. It's not business for me. If there's money that comes in after a while, great. Open an account, call it podcast money, start moving it there. Agione yami, imali podcast. Kancane. But it's just a hobby.
Wow. That's the issue. I want to have more conversations around you, your early ages in business, you losing money, depressions, losing sleep. I'm super interested in that. And I need an episode just on that, because I believe a lot of people are still on that process or in that stage in their life. So getting information from you would be super fantastic. So can we just cut it here, 40 minutes, so that at least I can steal you on other days, and then we can expand on our topics. Otherwise, man, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks again for having me. I truly enjoyed the chat. One of these days, I'll be interviewing you. So ready for that and excited for that day.
Thank you very much, Penson. So kuluma during the day, this was very informative.
Shaput.